I want to take you across to a special guest who joins me live from New York City. Puneet Sahani is an expert on the evolution of Sikh identity. He's also writing a book that's going to be coming up very soon, which involves some facets of Khalistani terrorism, which is something that Puneet is very familiar with because he's actually faced direct death threats from Khalistanis in the United States against him. So, Puneet, good to have you with us. I know you've been, having your say about what's been happening in San Francisco, in London, in Canberra as well. What did you make of this current spate of incidents where you've had these Khalistani thugs attack Indian consulates and embassies, Puneet?
Jana Bharti Shiv, thank you very much for inviting me. So, again, I'll go to a more fundamental question. I'm a student of history, right?
Yes.
And for me, history is not like, like what color, like what car they were driving or what color of shoes they were wearing. History is like what happened under what incentive and constraints. So for you people, not for you in general, but it might be surprising this is happening because TV is coming. But actually, if you go in 80s in Canada, like they basically, right now what this madam is showing in UK, they attacked it on a holiday. Like she said, there was nobody inside. But I can show you visuals. In 1980s, for example, they used to bully the Indian embassy so much. In Canada, for example, that they, threw eggs. And he had to run, take the chor darwaza, take the back door and run away. So we have actually already faced this. We are the biggest victims of terrorism, and we just have to look what worked and what doesn't work. So again, like for example, Canada. Canada is like the America lost the war here because, this Pakistan gave a safe corridor. So this UK to a smaller extent, but Canada to the larger extent is this, and they are creating all this nonsense. And we have to basically do something very simple. What the Gill Saab used to say is basically what deterrent are you setting on the criminals? Yeah. So the Canadian government is not involved, like not cared because, you don't matter, okay, you have an audience, you can raise a noise. How is Canadian government affected by what you're doing? Actually, Khalistanis have infiltrated every institution there. So you have to basically inflict a cost. So, we have like high commissioner level relationships. We don't get anything from Canada. We were giving them vaccines and these thankless people. So degrade it. I'm just giving you one example. Make it to charge. Like what has the Indian government done? You can say, okay,
for many years. Who's funding all of this? Who's organizing? Who's the puppet master? Is it Pakistan? Is it some groups in Canada? Who's doing this?
No, there are like, of course. So you see, there are many, variables, right? So of course, this is one variable. So for example, and there is evidence. It's not just like Puneet Sahani sitting in New York in morning because this is what he feels like. Yeah. So for example, if you see this protest, like what this, they take this Khalistan protest. No, you would see so many, I don't know, Shiv, I think you're married to a Punjabi. I don't know if you're Punjabi yourself. So, the Pakistanis also speak Punjabi, for example. But, there are some words that we don't use. For example, we never use the word salan for sabzi. Right. This is a giveaway. If somebody is using the word salan for sabzi, it means he's a Pakistani. Right. So you see this Pakistanis, all this in rallies, like I can show you in Switzerland and Germany. No, they are speaking Pakistani Punjabi. They are not speaking our Punjabi. Now, if you see this clown show, like this, this Sikhs for Justice and all this nonsense. So, like a show like you, like they are taking, like, for example, Geo News. Geo News is like kind of like your news in India, like a very big platform in Pakistan. So there is Murtasal, there is nothing. They are going and interviewing all these people and giving them like prime time and making this show. So, of course, Pakistan is involved. But that is, of course, one thing. There is others. What, like there's radicalization happening in Gurdwaras. And in the universities. So like, in orientation seminars, they put one picture of, I'll tweet it today, I'll show you like, the kids, because the government doesn't do anything. So they are reaching out to me. when the college started recently, you'll be shocked. You know, the kind of blasphemy they do. They are orienting kids in universities in Canada. First, they put a picture with Guru Gobind Singh and his sons, and then they put Bhindranwala and him surrounded by terrorists. So basically, Bhindranwala is Guru Gobind Singh, and all his
Unbelievable.
are Sahibzade. This is they are orienting in universities of Canada like this is Sikhism.
And they've infiltrated every level. You're saying that over the years they've infiltrated every level. You know, we're seeing crowds of these Khalistanis, many of whom are Indian students studying in Australia. In Canada, they've infiltrated all levels of government and the administration. What about the United States? What about, you know, India and the US, for instance, and India and the UK have very close relations. You know, how does one impose costs in such relations, Puneet?
No,
Puneet, there's a bit of an audio problem. If you can hear me and just repeat your answer once again. Let's just see if we can hear Puneet.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you an example. So, for example, when Canada in 1985 they bomb blasted,
Kanishka Airlines.
Air India Airlines,
Kanishka,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And Canada failed to, get convictions. So they killed the witnesses. You know, they made a joke of it. And you see what is happening in Canada. Canada is basically like what Pakistan is for Taliban. Canada is for Khalistanis. In the same time, I'd say in around 1986, there was a guy, you note the name. Nobody knows about it, but if you Google, you'll get it. His name was Gurpratap Singh Birk. Right. And what he was trying to do was kill Rajiv Gandhi when he was visiting United States. This is, I think, 1985-96, same period. And in New York, where I'm living. And the FBI, he was just discussing this. So, FBI basically trapped him and sent him to a long jail. Nothing happened in US. So the Khalistanis understand, we have all the freedoms of Canada and probably more. But the Americans inflicted the cost on Khalistanis.
Yeah,
and there was almost nothing here. So the thing is, we just have to make this case like these people. We have done such a terrible job that these Khalistanis are not a threat to the Sikhs or the Punjabis or India. But they are a threat to their own people. And Shiv, I'll give you one example. I know, I also have to run. But let me give you a very recent example.
Yes.
In mid-80s, there was a preacher from Punjab. And, he was saying, we are not for Khalistan. We believe in Hindu-Sikh brotherhood. And this is all nonsense. And there was one person, his name was Rajinder Singh Bhatt. Rajinder Singh Bhatt, right? If you Google, you'll find it.
Okay.
He killed that preacher. And if you read India Today, what they're writing, the judgment comes, this man was a man of peace and he was killed by a terrorist. They sent this guy for prison for 35 years, right? After 35 years, when this guy is released, the Canadians and the UK Khalistanis, they start celebrating him, Bhai Rajinder Singh, he sacrificed for the nation. Then SGPC started doing this.
Familiar pattern.
And they started, right. And they started attacking, at that time she was a very competent Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, Miss Priti Patel. That Mrs. Priti Patel is against these Khalistanis and all this nonsense. And when I came, I was like, she's absolutely right. This is what Khalistanis have done.
Yeah.
And these people who are attacking Mrs. Priti Patel, you are celebrating this guy whose only achievement in his life that he has murdered somebody for preaching peace. All of them ran away. All of them ran away. Yes. SGPC, I'll send you a link to this. So the thing is, Indian government just keeps sleeping. They have done nothing.
Okay, I got what you're saying, Puneet. We're out of time, but I hear what you're saying. The point is that if you don't impose costs, it emboldens such groups and they will do more and more because you're giving them more and more space. If they have the audacity to attack your embassy and there is no pushback, no costs imposed against them, against the countries sponsoring them, against the countries that should be protecting these embassies, then you are a soft state and a soft power. Puneet, really a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much. Stay safe. I know that Khalistanis have been baying for your blood for many years as well.